People, how we're brewing. A very good evening and a very warm welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host Lefty, you're all very welcome here tonight. Thanks for joining me on the stream. Floor Snake and Chris in the chat very early on, great to see. Solidari-Tea to the two of you. How's your Tuesday Brews Day going? I'm trying to pack in as many puns as I can into this opening foray. Well said there, Chris. And thanks for throwing up the watermelons early on there, Floor Snake. Gaza is on tonight's agenda, of course. And that's no spoiler, because it's in the title of the stream. Okay, I wasn't with you yesterday. There wasn't too much news around other than the recent demise of the Pope Francis, so that was taking up a lot of the news. So I thought I'd wait for a few more other things to come in. We'll be mentioning that a little bit as well. Not too much though, as I said, it's been all over the place for the last few days, but obviously that has a big impact in the Catholic community. Although every hypocrite's trying to jump on the bandwagon, aren't they now? And yeah, oh, of course. We followed the ways. Anyway, at the risk of getting sidetracked. JD Vance has come into this, bizarrely. He was the last person to make contact with the Pope. Bizarre. Having another look at JD Vance shortly as well, with something else. There's been a lot said about that. He's done the old Liz Truss. But coming up as well, another U-turn from Keir Starmer. This time on gender. Wouldn't you, you know, knock me down with a feather if it isn't something that he sided one way with before he was elected either Prime Minister or leader of the party. And now that he has seized the reins of power, turns out, oh no, just needed to get elected, you see. And that's on gender, trans rights, which has been in the news a lot recently, obviously with that Supreme Court ruling. It's also drawn a rift between two sides within Labour itself. Some more on that, as well as the latest in Gaza, as I said. So that will include the Red Crescent's response to that internal report from Israel about the attack on the ambulance convoy. And could there be new ceasefire talks? Let's try and stay optimistic, but you know how these things normally go. It does have precedence. That being said, in the last 18 months or so. The only one that's managed to come to fruition was immediately broken anyway, but, you know, we do have to stay optimistic. I am sort of saying that tongue-in-cheek, but really we do, because this has to end over a table. Unless someone's going to just burst in and arrest Netanyahu, his entire cabinet and his entire army, but it doesn't seem likely. Des, great to see you again. And one of Floki's, great to see you. How you doing? Happy post-Easter. Oh yeah. There we were, the last time we were together was on Sunday. I'm delighted to say there were only over 200 viewers on the live stream on Sunday, so thanks a lot for that to everybody who watched or helped to promote the channel. Thanks again. Yeah, and then just the very next day, it's got all sorts of undertones, foreshadowing, the timing of it, and obviously the story in the Bible that this time of year is all about for Christians. So yeah, kind of strange. And you could say that he was a progressive voice, that is. Well, you know, I'm not getting into any arguments about the Catholic Church or the Catholic faith in general or anything like that, but certainly where Palestine's concerned as well, he spoke out against the genocide in Palestine. And although he's met a lot of dignitaries and whatnot throughout his time, no doubt, the fact that the last one was J.D. Vance, and that he spoke very directly to J.D. Vance about what he thinks about him, the president, and his actions as well, I think at least deserves a nod and a bit of credit. So Nina Sadie, very good evening to you too. Just getting nice and warmed up here. And then we'll be kicking off with a little comedy, as always. That will be around J.D. Vance. Yeah, it's a channel I've featured before on the show. Speaking of which, if you do like parodies and where J.D. Vance is concerned, I have just today actually found a new channel on YouTube. I was going to open up with one of their vids, but I've already got the one that I'm going to use queued up. I'm not sure which one to use either. It's very good actually. It's a very good take on J.D. Vance. As I've only seen a couple of the videos so far. The guy does a parody impersonation of him, as well as playing other characters himself. So the premise, I believe, is that Vance is either an alien or is acting on behalf of some aliens whose main primary objective is to extract all of the minerals from the core of the planet and such. But he does a very good JD, I do have to say. So I might see if I can squeeze one into tonight's episode later on. Hey Davinia, how you doing? Right, people, so that's a bit more about what's coming up on the channel. Make sure you've hit the thumbs up and all of those shenanigans. Help spread the good word on social media as well if you can, please, people. Yeah, whichever socials you're on, do give us a follow at MyLeftyUK. Blue Sky's the preferred one at the moment, but also on Mastodon and Twitch. Do appreciate that, and do appreciate all of the good folk who support the channel with a membership as well, whose names you should be able to see on your screen right now. Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. Especially if you've gifted memberships recently, which has turned into a game within itself. And as well as people who've renewed memberships as well, I have to say. Flow Snake, it's funny you mentioned that about Vance, and oh right, yes, of course. That's what it's all about. You see, I've only watched a couple of videos of this guy I found today, as I said. But in a couple of them, there's a couple of sofa jokes, and I was wondering what all that was about, and I forgot about the yeah, of course. He screws sofas as well as countries, so yeah. Yeah, I think I've pretty much got to squeeze a clip of one of those vids in to the stream later. And you'll have to forgive me, I've totally forgotten the guy's name for a brief second there. So thanks again, members. Let's get you people up on the screen. Where's the chat at? Here we are, I'll just make sure that we're on live and not top chat. Yep. Very well. Proceed. Yeah, Nina Seri the Pope missed a trick with that one. Well, speak of the devil. Let's go to the clip. It's the latest one of those Hitler Rants one. You know, it's taken from the scene in Downfall where they changed the subtitles, and this time it's JD Vance. Yes, please enjoy this, and then we'll get back into articles, clips, and whatnot.
Was ist los? Woher kommt die Schießerei?
Mein Führer, darf ich Ihnen zum Geburtstag gratulieren?
Wenn er sich ohne Befehl entfernt hat, ist das Fahnenflucht. Verrat!
Mein Führer, wir haben noch keine Meldung. Ich spreche gerade mit Koller.
Koller, geben Sie mir Koller. Koller.
Hey guys, it's J.D. Vance, the Vice President.
Sie wissen, dass Berlin unter Artilleriefeuer liegt.
Trump is a really bad candidate, and frankly, I think a really bad person.
Hören Sie den Beschuss nicht?
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
Because I don't think that he's the person, I don't think he actually cares about folks.
I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Die Russen sollen eine Eisenbahnbrücke über die Oder haben.
I was wrong about Donald Trump. I didn't
think he was going to be a good president. He was a great president.
Das sind ja nur 12 Kilometer bis zum Stadtkern. Ist der Russe schon so nah?
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
Haben Sie noch Zweifel an einem Befehl? Ich glaube, ganz Europa erobert.
Denmark, which controls Greenland, it's not doing its job and it's not being a good ally.
Dann soll die Armee kehrt machen.
There was a lot of criticism from Denmark, a lot of attacks.
At the Trump administration, at the president, at me, at others in our administration for saying the obvious.
Which is that Denmark hasn't done a good job at keeping Greenland safe.
Es wurde ein ungeheurer Verrat geübt am deutschen Volke.
There is no amount of bullying, no amount of obfuscating, no amount of confusing the issue.
Our message to Denmark is very simple.
You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland.
Widerstand in den Weg gelegt. Ich hätte gut daran getan.
Well, the president said we have to have Greenland, and
I think that we do have to be more serious about the security of Greenland.
we can't just ignore this place. We can't just ignore the president's desires.
Nur um zu lernen, wie man Messer und Gabel hält. Aber alle diese Verräter werden bezahlen.
There is no way that Canada can win a trade war with the United States.
Hat die Korruption in unserem Staat möglich gemacht. Ich hätte gut daran getan.
We borrow money from Chinese peasants.
To buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity.
It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America.
Unberechenbarer Künstler. All die anderen, ja.
Almost always, the people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
Have you said thank you once?
Man müsste die ganze Luftwaffenführung sofort aufhängen. Das ist unerhört. Unerhört. Der Russe steht 12 Kilometer vom Stadtkern. Und ich erfahre das sozusagen auf Nachfrage.
Mein Führer, vielleicht handelt es sich ja wirklich um Fernfeuer. Sie erwähnten eine Eisenbahnbrücke über die Oder.
Ach, Unsinn.
Very good, very good. Hitler Rants parodies there. Check them out if you've not seen them before. I'll stick a link in the description when I'm done. Excuse me. See what you did there, Chris. Advance. His first name was Andrew. Very good punning. I expect nothing less from fantastic audience that we have here on the Brews at 10. Yeah, Divinity. It's funny because it's true, I guess. March into the dystopia with a smile and high spirits. I just always try and kick off with something light-hearted, as always. Yeah, so if his first name was Andrew, it would be A.D. Vance instead of J.D. Vance, so it's Advance. Well, it's as spelt out precisely there in the chat by Chris. Yeah. It's a pun, you see. It's a laugh, mate. It's a laugh, innit? He's having a bubble. Okay. This is a serious channel all about politics and society from a left-wing perspective. Let's go with the topics. I mean the chocolate bar, of course. So let's talk about sex people, but specifically gender. And of course, there was the High Court ruling last week, which said that gender is defined by gender at birth. This has caused shockwaves amongst the trans community especially, as well as those who support the trans community, and even in the Labour Party as well, where despite the fact that it is now 90-odd% bereft of socialists, there have been those who are still in the party, still in government, who have advocated for trans rights, including Keir Starmer himself. But lo and behold, people, add it to the list, volume whatever number we're up to of the Great Chronicles of U-Turn of Starmer. So I've got a clip of what his opinion used to be, and then got today, very robotically, excuse me, just need to wet my whistle. Very assertively, as though it's the first time he's ever said anything in front of camera. As though it's the first time he's said anything about any policy. He assertively expects us to believe that he's changed his mind. And this is someone, obviously, who used to be Director of Public Prosecutions. He was Queen's Counsel. He's flirted with the law, let's put it that way. And has been very clear on the definitions of it legally, previously as well. Running up to the election, many on the right tried to draw him into the argument of definition, which he somewhat steered away from, and I think that was probably to try and not lean with one side of the argument, but also basically to try and not focus on the issue, to make sure that the right weren't getting what they wanted in trying to make this non-issue seem a big issue. What this all boils down to, is just, it's making people's piss boil that trans people use public toilets and things like this, like there aren't things that are actually happening in society that are detrimental, that we need to, work on. So that's pretty much been his story, his journey, in terms of opinion. Of course, he'll say anything. He sticks his finger in the air every morning and just wants to know which way the wind's blowing and goes with it. If last week the Supreme Court had ruled that people have self-determination, where decision about what pronouns they use, gender definition was up to them, then that's what Starmer would be reinforcing today. However, that didn't happen. Obviously said, I think that was the wrong decision to make. The campaign group that we're talking about are, I believe, even funded in part by the likes of J.K. Rowling, who see this as a victory in this phony culture war that they've tried to drum up. Slightly different comparison, but again, my mind's drawn to that meme of the American hillbilly sat out on his porch with the straw hat and the straw hanging out of his mouth and the, the double-barrel shotgun. Denim dungarees, all the rest of it. And he's saying to himself, yep, now them trans is gone, eggs is going to be cheap. Right, so again, shame Starmer, shame. It's almost like he was just pretending to be progressive. But he's certainly someone I've had my left eye on for a while. And I saw all this bullshit coming. Right. So this is what he said, clear and very concisely in the past, and then we'll take a look at what he's said today.
There's abuse, vilification and violence against trans people on a daily basis. I think the way the media are dealing with this is completely wrong, and it resonates almost with the old Section 28 debate. Same argument, same challenging, same characterisation, same stereotyping, if you like. And in years to come, we will look back at this period and say that the way this issue was dealt with was completely wrong, just as we look back now at Section 28 and know that that was completely wrong. Trans rights are human rights, and I support the right to self-identification. You know, just as we should do
that bit there, very important. He supports the right to self-identification. It's there in plain English. He said it. It's not the first U-turn he's ever done. He'd already done, you know, a fair amount even before we went to the election. People still bought him for it. They just wanted the Tories out. And you can't say that we didn't warn you. You can't say that we didn't warn you. That's something I don't like to have the bragging rights on, you know, about being correct. But I'm just appalled again at the latest rank hypocrisy. And we are going to see transphobia on the increase. We're going to see an increase in attacks, online abuse, even physical attacks, I dare say, unfortunately, as well. Because when certain knuckle-dragging demographics of the British public hear wind of things like this, they think it gives them free license to do certain other things. So there's more. There's just a little bit more. That's the last bit.
You know, just as we stood up against Section 28, we've also got to stand up here for trans rights. And
got to stand up here for trans rights and take that fight on.
And take that fight on.
Take that fight on. Yeah. The rights are being held sausages. The return of the sausages. And now another thing it boils down to is this tactic to outflank reform to the right. He's terrified of reform. He wants to try and win reform voters with more right-wing rhetoric that's just music to their ears, he thinks. But how many times have we said it, people? It won't work. Not only because anyone who was going to vote for reform based on a policy of theirs will do so even if you do imitate them. They're still going to vote for reform anyway. So not only are you disenfranchising your party members, I've mentioned that this has caused a stir in the House of Commons. Think about the membership on the wane as it is, still in the hundreds of thousands of people, and you can bet your bottom dollar that there will still be members of the trans community there. I've not been there for quite some time, I'm quite pleased to say. Bailed out a long time ago, but they'll be equally appalled. I dare say there'll be a few cards in the bin today because of this statement that we're going to take a look at now. That's from Pink News, by the way. Credit where it's due. So this, oh, it's an article, isn't it? Oh, as well. Yes, of course, the membership goal. Forgot to say at the end of the member scroll. Still sitting on 91, so thanks a lot for all your contributions there. Right, so this is fresh today. Alright, here we go. So according to his official spokesman, he's not said this directly to a reporter or gone out the front of number 10. But this has come through today. But it just reminds us of another old quote that he told the Times in March 2022. So he says a woman is a female adult, and in addition to that, trans women are women, and that's not just my view, that's actually the law. Again, very clear on that. So again, being a lawyer's lawyer, oh no. We've got principles, and if you don't like them, we've got others. So the Supreme Court has made this judgment. Prior to what I just said about him trying to gain votes for reform, I think that's why he's gone with it so leniently. There were sort of whispers in the wind, as it were, about Labour seeking to rebel against this decision to try and get it overturned. So he just basically wants to go along with what he thinks the reform voters would like. So there's not going to be any challenge as far as I can see. I think this will come up tomorrow on PMQs. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't, from without or within Labour. And then that was the thing. I think it even went over the dispatch box at one point. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might not be 100% correct there. But they kept just asking Starmer, that is those on the right, Conservatives, some of the right-wing press, just straight up, can a woman have a penis? You know, that's the most interesting thing that they could think of to ask him that particular day. And that kept coming up. No pun intended, of course. Keep it serious, people. This is a political channel all about politics and society from a left-wing point of view. Okay. Wow, I'm just actually now speaking of PMQs, I'm picturing the back and forth between himself and Badenoch. I think Badenoch could be pulling up a few of those old quotes. She'll, you know, it'll still be a pathetic display from both sides, I dare say, but early premonitions there for tomorrow's PMQs. Which will be back after a couple of weeks away. I hope you're going to join me for another round of Keith's catchphrases. In fact, she's already thrown her 2 cents in here, Bad Enoch. The idea that having supported this all along is for the birds. They have never said this before. This is a U-turn, but we welcome it. And just like that, the Tories were saying, nice policy, Keith. However, Liberal Democrat Women and Equalities spokeswoman Christine Jardine warned that the ruling threatened the human rights and security of another vulnerable group in society and questioned where trans people should now seek refuge. I mean, you know, we follow some very strong topics now and then here on My Left Eye. There are a lot of injustices, you know, socially, both domestically and globally. And the fact that this campaign group, which is essentially a right-wing women's campaign group, just got it up their own arses so much that they can't bear trans people using the same bathroom facilities as they do in a public building. You know, if they can sleep well at night now, then, you know, what sort of life is that? Honestly, come on. And another set of people who probably will take this as a win, you know, the groups who were campaigning against the drag queens reading stories to kids in schools and things like this. Oh yeah, because it'll magically turn your kids queer or make them trans. So that's disappointing as well as weak from the poor excuse of a man you've got on your screens there. Keith Rodney Starmer. The trans and society harmer. But just while we're on the topic of Keith himself, I do have this queued up as well. Just bear with me, people. Which one should we go to first? Yeah. Go here first. So let me know what you think about that U-turn in the chat, people, by the way. And in the comments if you're watching back on a replay. Both groups alike, please make sure you've hit the thumbs up button as well. Thank you very much. It's a simple gesture, but it does a lot for the channel, really does. Now, if you didn't like him enough when I started the stream, then just wait for this one, people. If word hasn't reached your ear yet, but it's certainly reached my left eye. We've talked a lot about private healthcare interests, NHS takeovers, this kind of thing recently, especially where Keith's concerned, as well as Wesley, shut up Wesley Streeting. You're right. No, I'm not gonna. So, this is pretty stultifying, even by current Labour standards. Look at this, people. Considering who we've had passing through number 10 over the last decade and a half, this has surely got to be shocking. Sorry, I've just removed this. Maybe subscribe later. 4 times the amount of private healthcare donations of every other party. 4 times. Quadruple. Yeah, so that's more than Cameron. That's more than Theresa May. That's more than Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, Johnson. No, none of them. And they're all as corrupt gets, as we've unfortunately learned over the last decade and a half, you know. From the pasty tax through COVID and all kinds of disability cuts, benefit cuts. Backhanders, all kinds of, you know, corruption of every imaginable sort. And Labour have outstretched them. Not double, not treble, but 4 times. Let's see what's happening. This is an article from the Canary, who are a good source of journalism if you're not familiar with them. I'll read a few excerpts, not the full thing. Campaign group Every Doctor conducted the research that's found out this information, and the money they've taken in donations is from companies and individuals linked to the private interests carving up the NHS for profit. Tellingly, elected Labour politicians have racked up 4 times the number of donations of any of them. I think that's supposed to say. A bit of a typo there. Apologies. So let's get some stats, let's get some facts and figures, talk turkey. More than half, and that's £1.4 million of the donations came from companies with investments in private healthcare, such as asset management firms. A tenth of the donation, which is just over 300 grand, came from companies that already provide services to the NHS, provide services to. That's interesting. It's an interesting way you can think of siphoning off cash while you treat patients like customers, isn't it? More than 230 grand was, excuse me, was donated to MPs from directors of companies that have investments in the private healthcare sector. Lobbyists with private healthcare clients donated more than 110 grand to MPs. So that'll be the likes. I'm sure Streeting's got to be included in that. $2 million out of the 2.7 million donations. of course, that's got, they pointed out, yeah, there's more of them. There's more of them to bribe, you see, because they've got 403 seats. That's 62% of the House. So, they're obviously not making excuses for Labour there. Canary are, of course, a socialist publication. But even I can't believe this. If it had been double, I would have thought that's beyond reprehensible, let alone 4 times the amount. And, you know, think about all of the PPE scandal. Matt Hancock during COVID. He's been dragged over the coals for that again recently, hasn't he? Michelle Mone. All of those millions of pounds. Serco, what were they? They were on the payroll as consultants, was it? Some of them were on thousands of pounds a day. But no, this dwarfs, you know, even your very worst expectations, and believe me, where Labour is sitting currently at the moment, in my opinion, is fairly low down. Andy Carter entering the chat with a bang. Thanks a lot for the gifted membership, brother. Great to see you on the stream. And it's gone through as well, a shot and a hit from Andy Carter, which gives me good license to update the membership goal total to 92. Thank you very much again, Andy. Solidari-Tea, brother. And there's more. Let's just read through a little more of this. The Canary asks, who's responsible for a significant proportion of these donations? So it's think tank Labour Together that gave Labour candidates more than 1.4 million ahead of the election. It's the infamous brainchild of Prime Minister Starmer's now Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, of course. It's not the first time in recent months that the think tank has reared its ugly head. In March, the Canary uncovered a plethora of connections between think tank and MPs pushing for the government's disgraceful disability benefit cuts. Moreover, as Steve Topple pointed out at the time, this is the same Labour Together that plotted to destroy Corbyn's leadership, fomented the exaggerated anti-Semitism crisis, went after grassroots Labour supporters and smeared them as anti-Semites, and created Stop Funding Fake News to try and destroy the Canary, Squawk Box and other independent media outlets. Well, I'll say this, if I ever come up on the radar, if they want to take me on, I hope they brought the dinner, because they're going to need it. So, yeah, look at this piece of work. Martin Taylor, who's a hedge fund Craig asset manager, and he holds over $20 million, that's just over 15 mil sterling, in shares in United Health, one of the largest private healthcare operators in the US. It's a bit dusty in here, excuse me, people. Piece of shit. Excuse me, sneeze. Other major political donors include businessman Trevor Chin. We've heard that name before, haven't we? Where private healthcare's concerned, yet, of CVC Capital Partners, which owns stakes in dozens of private healthcare companies across the UK, Europe and Asia. Wankers. Yeah. It's people like this want to keep you sick so that they can have a slightly longer yacht. Look at these figures, quadrature. $200 million, just over 158 million. Sickening amounts of money. And of course, it was only inevitable that someone's name would pop up in this article. Every doctor honed in on Health Secretary Wes Streeting. It revealed that he'd taken 65 grand just for Wes. Oh, past the fucking sick bucket. That's from Edgerton Capital John Armitage. It's a hedge fund that holds hundreds of millions in US healthcare stocks. Significantly, it has 216 million invested in big pharma corporation Eli Lilly. As if you couldn't hate Wesley anymore. Really. 65 grand. That's about 2/3 of his salary. That's roughly in the region 2/3 of his salary from being a member of Parliament. So if someone is going to roll you a fat bonus like that, which way do you think that they're going to go? You probably didn't hear it here first, but you can certainly take it from me. I'll back up the sentiment that this man is a snake and should not be allowed anywhere near the National Health Service. Speaking of health, we have a doctor in the house. Doc Davies, great to see you. Mike Boy, how you doing? Have we had a raid? Quite a few people joining at the same time. Stu, nice to see you as well. Is it from No Justice? Yeah, shout out to Helena at No Justice. Solidarity. If that was a raid, or whether it was or it wasn't. Everybody, I do insist you check out No Justice. Wonderful content. Great streamer. It was a raid. Welcome raiders. Welcome raiders. If you don't like Wes Streeting, you're in the right place right now. We were just talking about the 65 grand bung that he's taken from every doctor. Apologies, every doctor's the report from Edgerton Capital John Armitage, as you can see on your screen there. Antonio, you're very welcome for the welcome, and you're very welcome to the stream. Please make sure you hit thumbs up on the stream. All income is from No Justice. Solidarity, this is the Brews at 10 on my left eye. We're all about politics and society from a socialist point of view. And of course we're against healthcare privatisation. That's what we're chewing the fat over just now. Feel free to chuck in your opinions in the chat. I'm right with you there, Katie Marshall. Yeah, he sucks ass. He's terrible. Done a bit of recent parody content about him if you'd like to check that out in the videos. Okay, let's read on. Solidarity with everyone. Once more from Helena at No Justice. So in October, the Canary reminds us Labour struck a deal for a 279 million investment in a new life sciences centre. He also received a donation from multi-millionaire recruitment tycoon Peter Hearn as part of a £260,000 he made donation. I think that is he made to several Labour MPs. 65 grand. This is great journalism from every doctor. This article from the Canary as well. But they've been on their case for quite a while, as the article also says. It's hardly the first time that it's painted an appalling picture of politicians in the pockets of private healthcare. Mariam Jamila wrote about its previous research on the very same thing 5 years ago, and then the situation was no different to how it is now. Prominent Labour MPs like Wes Streeting were taking donations from all the same culprits. Shut up, Wesley, and shut your wallet while you're at it. I'll post that article in the description of the stream as well a bit later, but let me know what you think about that one, people. The people aren't impressed, no, and coming up to the local elections, Labour certainly have to think about polling and things like this. I've also done a recent video asking the question who might take advantage of Labour's incoming downfall in the locals. But specifically where healthcare is concerned and the disabled, let's take a look at some recent polling there. Pretty much, spoiler alert, as every poll has been recently, doesn't look great for Starmer. And I'm sure that'll be reflected in the results of those places where there are local elections on May the 1st. Certainly on some of the more poorer wards and boroughs throughout the country, that's going to be reflected. It's another one from Stats for Lefties people. So they are third amongst the parties with disabled Brits. See what's happening. It's a pretty tight race though. The Tories taking the lead with a 4-point boost. Go figure. Go figure. Reform. I nearly said referendum. Reform. Referendum. Yeah, started the channel quite a few years after that. 21%, so they're up 1, but Labour are down 16 points. Bizarrely though, it looks as though, well, you take a look at the swing, Lib Dem seem to have picked up the spoils most, with a +5 swing, and the Greens also equaling the Tories +4 there, taking them up to 12%, so still a very tight race amongst the top 3, but for them to drop 16 points, it's no coincidence, of course, people, that this comes after recent victimisation, recent cuts, PIP payments. Was it 1.3 million people are going to be affected by the cuts, including people with cancer, other terminal illnesses? Shocking. Shocking. But also with a mix and a hint of we told you so. Let's take a look at one or two of the comments. Well, I'd agree with that one. They put another 2 horribly bigoted parties against the disabled at the top. They need to be reached by the Green Party or Socialist parties. They also mention Lib Dems there. But yeah, the Greens really, I mean, there's not going to be too many opportunities where the 3 flavours of Tory are doing so badly in the polls at the same time. Obviously Reform are taking advantage of that, and the Greens have got to match that. They've got to outdo that, let's be honest. Oh yeah, that was I've used that before at the start and end of streams, or I'll stick up a meme. That one there, the silhouette, sums it up pretty neatly, I think. As Common Sense is Dead, an official account there points out -16, yeah, that's an enormous fall off. I'm sure that if you put, let's just go back up, sorry, what was the dates? So that's between the 11th and the 14th of April. Yeah, a couple of weeks is all it's taken for them to drop 16 points. So they would have been right up there on 36%, head and shoulders above anyone else. That's just, yeah, Reform would have been in second. Tories would have been in third previously. And then Lib Dem and the Greens. And then others. Others. Quite unexpected. For the arch nemesis group from the TV series Lost to form a political party, but there you go. Others. It's a free stream, they're all crap jokes. Okay. Let me know what you think about that, people. I'm certainly not dumbfounded by that. Certainly I'm not. On social media, within my own communities, within my own friendship groups, I've seen nothing but vitriol against Starmer since things like the PIP announcements, and indeed some of you dear viewers have pointed out how you're going to be affected by this. So yeah, vote Labour, get Tory. Okay, let's move on to Middle East matters now, people. Just get a couple of things lined up. Okay, people, I'll quickly go over the Red Crescent's response to that bullshit internal report from Israel on the attack on the ambulance convoy. Long story short, they got caught out, tried to change the story. There was an overwhelming amount of evidence showing the contrary, which even they couldn't deny. As we see this picture here of the burial of the medics that were among the 15 Palestinians killed. And then of course it was, you know, the tyres on the ambulance were made of Hamas or, you know, usual. The PRCS aren't having any of it. They've said the report's full of lies. It's professional failures is what they called it. That's what the IDF called it. I think you'll find it was propaganda failures. Let's be honest with ourselves. So a spokesperson for the Red Crescent said the report was invalid and it justifies and shifts the responsibility to a personal error in the field of command when the truth is quite different. It is, of course, a war crime to attack emergency workers. course, Israel's understanding of international law is somewhat sketchy at best. They seem to think that even if there were members of Hamas in the ambulance, that gives them the right to attack a medical convoy. They think they have carte blanche in every scenario, whether it's a hospital or an ambulance or whatnot. They tried to blame poor night visibility, couldn't see the blazing lights that were on the ambulance, which they denied were there, of course. And they're currently detaining one of the medics that was there following the incident, of course. Heaven forfend that they get out and actually speak some truth on the matter. They didn't confirm his name, but the International Committee of the Red Cross has previously named him as Assad al-Nassasra. Nassasra, sorry. And that, well, there it is, of course. You can set your watch by this paragraph or so at the end. It's because, you know, that's the little mantra at the end. Now all say it together. Israel launched the campaign to destroy Hamas October 7th. October 7th. So essentially, well, again, I do use the P.O.V as a source. They're the first to get to a lot of stories, for example. But whilst I use them, I'm often a critic of theirs, especially the wording in articles. And this one can do just without the first 4 words there. I'm sure you'll agree. That is how it should read. And you don't need the air quotes either. Israel reporting to Gaza medic killings full of lies. That's all it has to read. An appalling incident. I'm sure you'll all agree. However, it does seem that they're going for another round of ceasefire talks. There have been proposals. And yet again, of course, we don't hold our breath. But let's just quickly see what's happening there, because as likely as it is to be the same old, negotiations getting derailed by Israel. Let's see where they're at the moment. It's a fairly different proposal, actually, from things that have come across the negotiating table before. A much longer period, a much longer ceasefire, between 5 and 7 years, whereas previous proposals have been measured in months or weeks. So a truce lasting 5 and 7 years. Again, don't hold your breath, because as we saw last year, Israel was straight in with breaking the agreement. However, this would be for the release of all of the Israeli hostages, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. Who are also hostages, by the way, BBC, if you want to stick that in the article. Dude. Rushdie Abu Aluf and Rafi Berg. Anyway. There's been no comment from Israel about the mediators' plan. 26 Palestinians were killed, 60 others injured in the latest airstrikes across Gaza Strip. That was in the last day. Another 26. Goes on and on. The IDF have said they struck 40 engineering vehicles used for terror purposes, including during the October 7th massacre. Yeah. And I'll eat my hat. I mean, what do you think, people? They couldn't, that is Israel, stick to the last one, which was supposed to be just weeks. I can't say I really feel very optimistic about this proposal whatsoever, even if there is an agreement about it, you know, being carried through. 5 to 7 years. Netanyahu can't even go 5 to 7 days without breaking a ceasefire agreement. They've broken every single one that's ever happened, not just in the last 18 months, of course, throughout decades and decades. Seen it's there again, the exact same paragraph at the end. Obviously Netanyahu will demand the eradication of Hamas, whatever that's supposed to mean, as part of his end of the bargain, I would say. What you can really translate that to is he wants the eradication of the entire population of Palestine, which is his genocidal, maniacal, twisted, fascistic, right-wing agenda. He doesn't want to discern between a militant wing of a political movement and a population. He certainly doesn't in the propaganda that they put out. But if he's going to make that request, then he'll have to. And it is gross, because it's literally, you know, what they tell the IDF. In fact, all of the Zionists in society have it instilled into them when these atrocities are carried out. They include, you know, the murder of children. They say that this is why we killed a 1-year-old, because in 17 years that baby would have grown up and been a man, and it would be a terrorist who would, you know, kill your family. And that is literally what they tell them. This is the kind of mindset that we're dealing with here, people. Very warped, very twisted, full of historical ironies as well, one has to say. Ian McKenna, great to see you. Hope you've been doing well. And that's another shocking stat as well. Yes, Antonia, the amputee capital of the world, in Gaza. Proportionately as well, you know, leading the stats were child deaths are concerned, women and children, journalists as well, all targeted. I saw Mehdi Hassan having a back and forth debate with one of the Israeli spokes. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't David Mensa or Tzipi Hotovely. However, at one point, and Mehdi Hassan is very good in confronting Israeli spokes as well. He's always got the facts prepared. He's very quick on his feet, even on live TV. So always really worth watching him in a debate. But at one point, the Israeli spokes said that they'd never, and at some point you really want to, you want to throw your computer or your TV set or whatever it is out of the window. You've just had enough. You want to Rick Mail the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? With the TV, when they say things like, "We don't actually want to kill anyone at all." Not one person. It really, yeah. There's taking the piss, and then there's things like that. What else have we got here, people? Ah, yes, of course. Well, let me know what you think about that topic, people. The ceasefire proposal. And thanks for throwing up the flags as well in the chat. Do appreciate that. Just moving on in terms of topic now. Just a little bit on climate. Certainly going to be more to come on the channel there at the end of the week, as I'm travelling down to London myself with JSO. But this is from over the pond, and Canada, unfortunately, another major developed nation, saying that they're taking the foot off the gas, no pun intended, maybe it was a little intended, taking the foot off the gas where renewables are concerned, and going back to fossil fuels as part of a long-term energy strategy. Disappointed. There's no debate to be had anymore where this is concerned, where CO2 levels are concerned, where global temperature rises are concerned. I won't go over all the ins and outs of that to point out that it's just not debatable how bad a move things like this are. So let's see why they want to condemn future generations to an unlivable future. Well, you probably won't be knocked back in your seats, people, or if you stood up, knocked over with a feather, to find out that it's for short-term financial gain. You can see there, even as recently as the 2021 election, environment topped the list of voter concerns. You can see it there. At which time there was a consensus between the two major parties that Canada should rapidly transition to a green economy with a net zero emissions law passed in June of that year. That sense of unity is now gone, the article says. They said, yeah, fuck it. It's surprise, former governor of the Bank of England. And he was a UN Special Envoy on Climate Action and Finance. That's Mark Carney, by the way. This also includes cancelling various taxes, carbon taxes. It's the removal of the carbon price, and observers say in accepting this narrative, climate change policy costs us too much money and it's not good news for us, when in fact it's not the case, said Catherine Ebreux, who's director of the International Climate Politics Hub and a member of Canada's Net Zero Advisory Body. They're bringing the Russia-Ukraine war up again, as though that's any kind of excuse. You know, we can't go to fossil fuels now because there's this war on. That's all the more reason to move to fossil fuels if a war halfway around the world can disrupt your energy supply. For goodness sake, not only is it killing the planet, but it's not sustainable, and it's not going to be there all the time if it gets disrupted during times of war. You know, you put all of your eggs in one basket, but you back the wrong horse. Assuming that you're betting on the horse with eggs for some reason. That's just a reminder of some of the wildfires that they had during autumn 2023. Of course, I do remember those being in the news. Do you remember you saw the footage? It was quite close to the border with New York, on the border of the United States and Canada, and the smoke was coming through New York City, and it looked absolutely dystopian. All of the news commentators in the States said it looked like something out of a Hollywood film, which it did. This orange sort of glow. It was, you know, really was a stark reminder just how close we are to these tipping points. And in fact, we're going over them as we speak. So Canada is America's largest foreign supplier of oil, with 90% of crude production heading south of the border. The impact of energy tariffs could be disastrous for jobs and the economy. Well, of course they have. We saw again today that all the markets were down. Turns out as well, according to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, that the country that's going to suffer the most because of Trump's tariffs is, drumroll please, spoiler alert people, yeah, it's the United States of America. They've, well, he's shot them in the foot. So this is why it's the polling. It's been pretty tight between the Liberal Party, Conservative Party at times. Oh, zip down a bit too far though. But these are the international commitments that they've made. Remember, you know, the whole point of having these, as they actually are, ineffective climate summits, the COP meetings and so on, so forth, is that the commitments made there are legally binding. And you can't just change your commitments because you're worried about your position in the polls. Or for short-term, again, financial gain. And they promised to curb emissions by 40 to 45% by the end of the decade, based on the levels in 2005. But as of 2023 it was only down 8.5%. The UK, we're down on our targets as well. Don't hold high hopes for Starmer creating a green revolution. This is the same guy who backs BS technology that doesn't exist. This carbon capture, so on and so forth. They're deluded. These aren't the solutions. Gotta follow that science, people. Let me know your thoughts on that. As I said, there's probably going to be a bit more about climate coming up on the channel towards the end of the week. Do join me for that. You'll be getting exclusive footage and interviews from the goings on in London next Saturday, 26th. If you're in the capital on the day, feel free to join us. If you hang around Parliament Square, you probably catch us. Let's just put it that way. Hey Mo, hope you're doing well. I do share those thoughts as well. Unfortunately, it's it's not looking great. The only country that seems to be ahead of its commitments is China. I'll take that, Trump, although he'd probably even see that as a win. Alright, people. Oops. Let's get the members going back up. Right. Something a little more light-hearted now, I think, after we've been through all those topics. Just a little feature on the channel that's developed over the last few weeks. Hope you will join in with this one if you're into your music and you like a hot tasty beverage. Then this little infomercial here speaks for itself, so hope you enjoy. I'll be back with you in a moment, but throw your suggestions in the chat and in the comments, people, as we go for the Brews at 10, the album, Volume 3.
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then my left eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album. All your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 3 is now available. Featuring Smells Like Tea Spirit, Nirvana, Born in the Brew USA, Bruce Springsteen, Tragedy-Tea, The Bee Teas, The Lemon Tea Song, Led Zeppelin, Tea Will Rock You, Queen, plus many more. Order now.
Yes, so that's Volume 3. Let's just go through, and that included some of your suggestions there. Thanks a lot. Keep them coming. So we had Smells Like Tea Spirit by Nirvana, Born in the Brew SA by Bruce Springsteen. Quality suggestions I've been getting here. Tragedy-Tea by the Bee Teas, The Lemon Tea Song by Led Zeppelin, and Tea Will Rock You by Queen. I think that was one of yours, Andy, wasn't it? And I think we've got one or two other culprits watching as well. Well done for making the latest volume. keep those suggestions coming in the chat and in the comments, people. So yeah, just change the title and or artist to something to do with tea. Pretty simple, really. They're writing themselves at this point. And what were the... I had another couple of good suggestions on yesterday's stream. Just looking at my notes now. Only Brew by the Platters. I thought that was a good one. So I'll be doing one of those a week. Yep. And there's also, speaking of homegrown comedy content, as it were, here on My Left Eye, there's the Pat McFadden Experience. I've put those videos out separately as well from the stream. I've not been doing too badly. Please do check them out if you've not seen them yet. Yeah, spared no expense with professional impersonators, you know. Okay. So I did say I was going to find this J.D. Vance impersonator, speaking of impersonations, didn't I? I'll have a quick route for that. I think we'll have that as our outgoing comedy clip. Stick around, people. This is really good. Just subscribe to the channel today. Which one? Okay, I'm gonna play the first video that I came across because they sort of go in chronological order. This one's about J.D. Vance's meeting with the Pope, but from this perspective, it's as though he didn't get to meet him actually at first. So remember, like I said at the top of the stream, the sort of the background to the bit, to the, you know, this incarnation of J.D. Vance is that he's either sent by aliens or is an alien himself, and the core strategy, pardon the pun, is to acquire all of the natural resources and minerals from the Earth's core. Forgive me, I've forgotten the name of the planet that they're from. So I'll just go there now. Right, just go through my history with the easiest way of doing it. There's the fella. I'll just get this queued up for you people. And I'll post a link in the description as well for this this channel. Definitely worth a follow from what I've seen so far. So the handle is Crabman732 and it's Rothschild's is his name. I'm just finding the one that I saw earlier. It's this one here. Here we go. Alright. Get good stuff, this. Where are we? This one. The one where he doesn't get to me. Okay, just skip through the ad. Good to go. He does him very well. Does him very well. It does help when I've got the
Literally everything you just.
Hello. I'm Vice President and unless.
Sorry, I just heard the first part in my headphones, that's why I'm laughing. Another gifted membership. Thank you very much, Andy. Do appreciate that. Solidarity this Brews Day. Right, we're all queued up now. Let's. You know, so this is Rothschild's. Just crank that up a bit.
Hello, I'm Vice President and Unleavened Meatloaf. JD, don't look now, but I think someone shit my Vance. It is Easter, and because I am such a good Catholic, I get to meet the leader of all human religion, the Pope.
Hi there. I have some bad news.
It is okay, good to meet you, Mr. Pope. I have so many questions.
No, I'm not the Pope.
Question that is first. Was your name always Pope, or did you have to change it when they made you Emperor of Prayer?
What? No,
What? How long have you worked here?
First of all, literally everything you just said is completely wrong. Second of all, I'm not the Pope.
I was told I was meeting the Pope, and I have just met you, ergo, you are the Pope.
See, that's what I was trying to tell you. His Holiness...
What is heaven like?
The exact opposite of this conversation.
Can you bless the couch in my basement? I'm tired of living in sin.
I am not the Pope!
What?
Unfortunately, His Holiness did not want to meet with you today. He thinks you're a bad Catholic and that you need a serious lesson in compassion.
But I am a good Catholic. I made sure all the right people were getting oppressed, including but not limited to women, immigrants, and trans people.
Well, that's kind of the point, Mr. Vice President. You're doing the exact opposite of what Jesus would do.
What? Says who?
Every single religious teacher, theological expert, and the literal Bible.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
Yeah, a figure.
All I know is Jesus is risen.
Right, Mr. Vice President, and in the spirit of Easter, I would be happy to teach.
The only rise you need concern yourself with is the rise of the Glothian Mining Consortium's stock margins as they finish mining all the precious minerals from the Earth's crust, mantle, and core. Soon humanity shall also rise to the occasion of becoming mindless automatons whose only mission in life is to mine and eat. All will be unity. All will be joy. All will be servitude. Do you have any eggs on you?
Normally the answer to that question is no, but one of your handlers outside gave me this to give to you.
Sweet, thank you.
Whoa, buddy, what are you doing? That's not a hard-boiled egg, man, that's raw!
Yeah, it's Easter.
You're really weird, man.
Agreed. Did they put you up at a hotel?
Yeah, the airport Hilton.
Is there a couch in your room?
A couch? No, I don't think so. Nope, no couch in my room.
That was not convincing. I will be commandeering your room key now. Happy Easter, my human friend. Please do not resist.
What? No, you stay away from me and you stay away from my home.
Okay, good. JD Vance is my name. If you say JD and Vance, then you have just said my name. JD Vance is what it is, and that name is JD Vance. JD Vance. Very good, very good. Alright people, yeah, I'll post a link to the channel in the description. I thought that was very good. Ian, would I be the Pope if they asked? I don't think I qualify. But if they asked, well, I guess it'd be an interesting sociological experiment.
at least. I don't know, what are the hours? Might clash with can't clash with the live streams. Do you think it could help the membership count if I became Pope? I don't know. Maybe. Good question. Got me thinking now. Lefty the first. All right. Let's not get any bright ideas, people. Holiness. Although we need to be careful with that one. It could sound like someone from Scandinavia, perhaps saying something else. Oh, you people, what do you like? I'll tell you what you like. You're very good, and I've also some very good members here on the channel. If you'll excuse me removing the chat for a moment while I just give another thank you to everybody. Thanks for the gifted memberships as well. I've got to update that as well. For your second gifted membership there, Andy. Thanks again. Thank you very much for that. Thanks to everybody who's renewed the memberships recently. Just 7 away from the 100 target. We did touch it during one of the streams last week. Unfortunately, a few people didn't renew since then. Also, another reminder, massive shout out to Helena at No Justice for the raid. Do check out No Justice, and Kevin Logan as well. I'm just having a look if anybody's streaming at the moment. Assuming Helena isn't. It's pretty quiet on that front. There's a Navarra. Got the stream tomorrow scheduled, that's about it. I'm open to suggestions as usual, just as we're going to the final throes of the stream. There was a suggestion on one of the recent streams that I just saw as we were finishing. Unfortunately, they weren't accepting raids. I can't remember the name of the channel, but thanks a lot for the recommendation. Just bring the chat back on screen. Thank you very much, members. And I'd be delighted if you can join me tomorrow as well, when PMQ should be returning, I believe. Another game of Keith's catchphrases. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, they, thems and comrades alike, barring any very, very late suggestions for who to raid into, we'll call it there. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. As I said, but whatever you do for the rest of the night, take care everybody. I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine and power to the people.